Let's get
I have
into it.
diabetes.
1, 2, 3. Let's get some more. Clap your hands. Get some more. Just give some more.
Well, welcome to My Whiskey Den, your favorite public access whiskey review show where craft whiskey is king, and you better believe that is the case today because we are looking at something from Cedar Ridge. Now, this is from Iowa. It's a single barrel, and this whiskey is brought to you by the benefactor, Stephen Andrew Card, also known as the Commissioner. He's supposed to be here. We don't know where he is. That's okay. We're going to move forward. We will pull him back on at least for a wrestling stream or something else. But he is the lovely man who gave this to us from Kansas City that focuses on all Iowa products and their stuff. So pretty exciting. If we look at the history of Cedar Ridge, they were founded by the Quint family. They had farmed there and distilled spirits apparently for generations. In 2005, Jeff Quint founded Cedar Ridge. So apparently that's when they wanted to make that distilling spirits thing legal. Then they also moved on to 2010, which is when they finally put down some of their very first whiskey. And in 2017, Quint was named the Distiller of the Year by ADI, and they won Best American Craft Whiskey in 2016 at the New York World Spirits Competition. So they do have a little under the belt when they are trying to represent the Iowa corn, which was kind of their main thing, is like, well, what the hell? We make more corn than anyone else. Shouldn't we be representing our own stuff? Which is what they went ahead and did. Now, do they have anything else interesting about them, Ben or Mike, that we know of whiskey-wise?
A little heavy metal band that some people might be fond of. The special release.
They do some special releases of with Slipknot. So they are becoming a little more prominent out there in the industry. We're tasting something different than the usual. We are doing part of their 20-barrel project where you use a high rye bourbon and they put it in 20 different barrels. This one is batch 2, bottle number 49, and 46% alcohol by volume. Now, what we did learn about this is that this was originally aged in a 15-gallon ex-bourbon barrels. Then the finishing cask was a Cedar Ridge rum barrel, a dark rum, and the grain was a 2-row grain. So now that we have all of those little short stats out of the way, let's get to the real fun, some nosing and tasting. Oh, wait. I didn't do the other thing. Mike, tell our fans what we're supposed to tell them. You're supposed to pay attention to this before. Slap me if I don't do this.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below, share, hit that bell notification to find out when new episodes come out. Almost every Monday night is a live episode, and most often in the An Evening With series.
Mm-hmm. Very, very good. All right, now let's get definitely back to the nosing on that. What are you guys getting from this?
It's floral up top for me. Almost like a floral tobacco note. I get some orange off of it. And when you dig in, you get a little bit more vanilla and brown sugar.
So there's an overall sweetness that I get on the nose, but in that I get like shoe peg white corn and caramel apples and Werther's, and then I get the oak. But everything is just it's like a sugar coating over the top of everything.
Now, when I first put my nose in here, I got a little bit of a corn ethanol note. Like right at the top, it's dissipated now that it's been 5-10 minutes. That's really not there as much. But then I get a little dusty corn. It's still sweet, but there's just like a little flat, dusty, musty note to it. I was getting huge lemon right away in the first couple minutes of this. It's a little fainter now. It's about 10-12 minutes later. And it's like brown sugar. And it's not molasses, but it's like it's the burnt spice and that you get out of the rum barrel that is affecting. I could not peg it the first couple minutes I tried this, where I was trying to figure out what sugar combination there was going on there, because I couldn't figure out what the overlay was. But I totally think that is from the rum barrel. I hear someone rubbing hands, so yeah, that's fine. We'll do that.
Keep it above the keyboard, guys.
Love it.
Still the sweetness, but more oak.
Yeah, I was gonna say richer.
Yeah.
I don't know that. I think I was getting more out of it right away. It's kind of dropped down and been a little more subdued for me.
It's got a nice oiliness to it.
It does. It coats the glass pretty good.
Yeah.
Takes its time to run down.
And I'd say I pour it because I have the standard Cedar Ridge, and color-wise, which I'm sure a lot of it's a barrel influence. This is the standard, and this is the 20 barrel. But it definitely is oilier than the standard Cedar Ridge, and a much deeper nose.
Did they give an age on this at all? Because it smells a little bit young to me, bourbon-wise.
No, but it was 15-gallon barrels.
Okay.
So it was the first fill for it. So they were at least, their ex-bourbons are at least once used.
Yeah.
Before they went in there. But I agree with. I went to the taste. I'll let you guys finish the notes. I was tasting.
And this is a barrel pick. There's a local liquor store chain called Gomer. So this was a barrel pick that they did of the 20 barrel project.
It's weird. It feels a little thin on the bottom of my tongue. Top of it is very oily on top. Bottom, not so much. That's a weird mouthfeel.
Back of the palate, though, is really dense. It's really dense. Dense sugar. Brown sugar, molasses.
Ooh, and just like a black pepper in there as well, too. I think the dark rum is blending oddly well with the, like I'm saying, it's hard for me to tell the dark brown sugars apart from here,
right,
from where they came from. It has a very nice finish on it, not heavy, sides of my mouth sticking around, just nice light oak, really. Little bit of the rum or other flavors to it, but not a whole lot. Not very thick, but it has a nice oak finish to it.
It's really dark. To me, the flavors and the notes are dark, like a dark rum. It's a lot of dark sweetness and sugar. There's a little bit of an apple note in there. I get a little bit of an almond. Really dark brown sugar. And the back end just kind of fades right into the finish. It's not like this transition or shift where it drops off. It's just this fade into the finish. And the finish for me is bitter orange, like orange peel, or like an unripe navel orange. It's not quite ripe.
Okay. When you were talking the dark notes, I was just getting a really dark, like raisin note mixed in with the sugar notes. But yeah, you're right. It does kind of more just fade away.
So comparatively, as because I get that too. Everything on the palate, the finish, it's just darker overall. The standard Cedar Ridge is substantially lighter, brighter, more floral. So it's very interesting. Side by side nosing and side by side tasting the two of them. It's very interesting that if this is the barrel finishing taking place of the same whiskey, that's a pretty good influence that's got, because it's a very, I say, a light and bright whiskey on its own. I like this 20 barrel more than the standard.
Well, and that's to play off what you just said. For me, on the nose, it's floral and it's light and pretty. There's a little bit of dark notes mixed in there, but when it hits the palate, man, it just completely goes really dark, sweet flavors.
Yeah.
And it's not even, I think this one said it was high rye. So that's what's throwing me, because I'm mixing my mind with the high rye spice, which doesn't feel like it's high rye. It feels like it's getting the spice from the rum barrel. Like it's not heavy for, I don't know what the high part is, but I think it's at least 20% or something like that to go up there and call it a high rye bourbon.
Yeah.
I'm not getting that oomph from a rye.
If it's a standard Iowa bourbon, that's 74 corn, 14 malted rye, and 12% two-row malted barley.
Mm-hmm.
The rye for me comes in on the palate right about the mid, right before it transitions to the back end.
Yeah.
I literally picture it like hitting a bullseye, an arrow hitting because it's just this little mark of like a green peach and a little bit of dill and spice going on. It just hits real quick, and then it fades into the dark sugars and the bitter orange note for me. It's just there for a second, and then it's gone, and that's I'm picking that out. Is that there's the rye right there?
Yeah,
but it's I think it's kind of damped down the rye a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, it very much has a cooked spice and sugar feel to it for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it lasts. I wish there was a little more depth to it.
Yeah.
But I like it. It's a nice whiskey. I do like it.
But as you're getting into the apple, orange, raisin, fruit section, you get the spice, and then it all that's when all of a sudden it dissipates. It's like right as you wanted to delve deeper,
right? It
fades away on you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's where I wonder if going was it 40? Was this 46?
46.
You know, if it were a little higher, what would that be like?
55. I think then you would, but you at that point you might also get the spice might kick up more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, that rye kicks in right on the swallow for me. That's right where I pick up just a quick hit of rye notes, just boom, right there, and then it's gone.
All right, I'm gonna pour a little bit more, and I think that's good. I think I like this whiskey, but it is definitely different than what I don't want to say what I was expecting, but I haven't had a lot in a dark rye barrel. I definitely would go back to this and I would drink it again. I mean, I see nothing wrong with it, but they do have an awesome. This series, when we were looking into it, is up to barrel number 22. So there are a lot of really interesting things they have done, and most recently, let me spin to the top of the page on this. Barrel 21 was in a Sauternes finish, but that was a 2-grain. Finished in a bourbon barrel and then the Sauternes cask from France. And the most recent one was the Barrel 22 project, that chocolate malt, which was 30% chocolate malt, 70% two-row barley, and they only aged it in a bourbon barrel, or a Cedar Ridge bourbon barrel. That high of a chocolate malt sounds pretty interesting to me. That would be one of the more recent ones that I would love to get my hands on to see what happened. Tasting notes, they say colors yellow gold. Nose was intense vanilla and roasted caramel, which you would expect. Heavy roasted caramel with that. And then it's creamy mocha and a bittersweet cocoa finish. I'm thinking there's way more involved in that than what they're letting on. Just from the few that we've had that have had 10% chocolate malt in it, that extra 20% I think is going to leave a pretty heavy imprint.
Yeah.
So definitely try their stuff. You know, they want to be like the pride of Iowa, and I think they're doing a pretty good job getting their name out there.
As a native Iowan, I don't mind saying this. They're making their own whiskey, but yeah, they are. They make their own, and I think that was one of their things too when they came out was, Iowa's full of corn. Why aren't we making our own whiskey?
Mm-hmm. And that makes sense. So I can't fault them on that. I'd want to think maybe they're using some yellow corn. Just by the smell on it is what's in here is what I would think.
Yeah.
But that's just because of the way the little shininess to it, and just a hint of dust. I think it makes me think number 2 was the corn. But I think that's good enough. Thank you, Cedar Ridge, for putting out a nice bottle. We're happy to have this. Thank you to, our lovely benefactor, Stephen Andrew Card,
Lovely.
who couldn't fit you in today. Don't know what happened. We might be having a Nancy problem like we did with you, but thank you for the bottle. We really appreciate it.
He's benefacting.
He's benefacting. So keep doing a good job, Steve. And remember, to everyone out there, it's not the size of the den that matters. It's the love of whiskey. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Let's get into it. 1, 2, 3.